right, well, welcome back to math class. As you can see, we are going to move on to lesson 2.2, which is called dividing fractions. If you would write that on the next available page in your notebook. All right, and the first word that we're going to look at is called reciprocal. A reciprocal, we're going to write in our notes, is the invert of a fraction. Now, the word invert actually means you're going to flip the fraction. So, for example, if you would write here the word original for our original number, and we'll write reciprocal right here. Make that a little bit better A for you. So, for example, the original number I'm going to give you is a fraction 3/5. The reciprocal of 3/5 is 5/3. Now, what's interesting is if we take the original number and its reciprocal and we find the product means we're going to multiply. So if we take 3/5 times 5/3, most of us know how to simplify that before we multiply, but those of us that don't, we know it's 15 over 15, which actually equals the number 1. All right, let's try another one. If I gave you the original number, let's say 9/7, what is the reciprocal? Well, we flip that. 7/9. If I find the product means we're going to multiply. Put the dot this time. 9 times 7 is 63. 7 times 9, oh, that's commutative property is 63. 63 divided by 63 is the answer 1. So if we look, we've talked about the word reciprocal, flipping. We've talked about if we multiply a fraction by its reciprocal, the product will always be 1. But what happens if I give you the original number 2? How do we make the reciprocal of 2? Well, if you're paying attention in our previous lesson, 2.1, we learned that a whole number is actually the same as that number over 1. So we're going to put that over 1. Now the reciprocal is easy. Take the original number, 2 over 1, times 1/2. We get 2 over 2, and 2 divided by 2 is obviously the answer, 1. Now, the reason why we're having to learn what reciprocal means is because in order for us to divide by fractions, we're going to do something that we've been doing in our morning work, which is keep, change, and we're going to do the flip, which is our reciprocal. All right, so let's try and review one of these. So if I would give you 1/5 divided by 3/4. Okay, the first thing I would ask you to do in your homework is I would actually ask you to write the problem down. So you would have to write this problem down. The second thing I would ask you to do is I would ask you to change it. So you would write, this would be your keep. We're going to keep this. We're going to change this. And we're going to flip this. We're going to find the reciprocal. So a division problem has actually changed to a multiplication problem. So what do? Multiply across the top and multiply across the bottom. We'll use our common factor sheet to see if this has any common factors. And the only common factor, if you look at 4 and 15, is 1. So this is my final answer. All right, well, let's try one over here. We're going to use the fraction 3/4 divided by 5/12. So, of course, the first thing we do is we write the problem down. The second thing we do is we rewrite the problem. We keep the first fraction. We change the division to a multiplication, and we flip, or we find the reciprocal of our second fraction. Now we know how to multiply. That was lesson 1. 3 times 12 is 36, and 4 times 5 is 20. If we notice, the numerator is larger than the denominator, so this is a time we would divide. So we would put 36 divided by 20. We know that 20 does not go into 3, but we do know 20 can go into 36 one time. 1 times 20 is 20. And then we'll subtract. 6 minus 0. 3 minus 2. And my fraction here is 1 and 16/20. Oh, look at my fraction. Those have common factors. The greatest common factor is a 4. So 16 divided by 4 is 4. And 20 divided by 4 is 5. But we can't forget we had a whole number 1. We still have to bring that over here for a final answer. All right, I had to turn to a free page here. We're going to do another practice problem. We're going to do 1/6 divided by 2/3. We write the problem down. Then I want you to rewrite it and solve. All right, well, let's see if you started. Keep, change, and flip. Some of you know how to simplify right here in the problem before you begin, and if you did that, excellent. The rest of us that don't, we're going to look at 1 times 3 is 3, and 6 times 2 is 12. Common factor is 3. And 3 divided by 3 is 1. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. And our friends that probably reduced her here earlier came up with that answer right away. All right, I'm going to give you one more practice problem. Practice problem I'm going to give to you is 4/5 divided by 2. All right, well, let's see. This is keep, change. We have to flip that. Don't forget, a whole number is always over 1. So now I have 2 over 1. Now I can flip that to 1/2. 4 times 1 is 4. 5 times 2 is 10. I look on my common factor sheet, or I notice that these are both even numbers. Even numbers means I can divide it by 2. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. Final answer. All right, we are finished with our video, so you may go ahead and close your things.